Hi there. In this lecture, Bobby Fischer is playing in his first US Chess Championship, 1957-58, overlapping, round 1. So this is against Arthur Feuerstein. Let's see, Fischer played e4, and we have c5, this is Sicilian defense, knight f3, e6. Fischer adopts g3 here, the King's Engine attack system, which has served him very well at this part of his career. Knight bd2, we see bishop e7, bishop g2, both sides castle, knight c6, rook e1, queen c7, queen e2. So white has a very nice looking position. Rook d8, e5, knight e8, c3. So this is one of my arguments actually for playing systems. If it's good enough for Bobby Fischer to play the King's Engine attack system, we have modern systems, which are trendy rather, like the London system nowadays. But the King's Engine attack is a really interesting system to play as well with white pieces if you don't want such a theoretical debate. We see black trying to expand on the queen side. White set up basically a strong point on e5, and if you look at that e5 point, it's attacking dark squares, and white's overall dark square strategy is now interesting after b4, reinforcing. Nimzowitsch would call this overprotection, and especially the e5 square is a classic square to overprotect. It gives natural coordination and elegance to white's position here. Queen a5, c4, so that protects that pawn and puts pressure and encourages d4, but that would give white the e4 square. Black played knight c7, we see h4, queen b6, h5, b3. Now this is just reacted to with a3. We have d takes, bishop a6. In fact, in this position, the Thorn pawn strategy, which the modern neural networks, they seem to like the Thorn pawns. It's like a goal-hanging pawn. Maybe black should have played here h6. Because if white has a pawn on h6, yes, it is like a goal-hanging pawn, just ready to help strikers like the queen later, weakening and marking out dark squares. This is altogether, it seems, safer. For example, here, yeah, white is slightly better, but it's not as bad as allowing the Thorn pawn. But Fischer didn't actually play that Thorn pawn move, h6. He played this. After rook a c8, again, h6 was interesting to play. And now we see Fischer installing the Thorn pawn. So we see g6. And now bishop g5, trying to weaken these dark squares. You can imagine the queen getting to f6, it would be mating on g7. So this is a dangerous strategy, which we can reuse in our own games. Knight d4, we see queen e3, not minding at all knight c2 here. So you might think this is quite interesting. Bishop takes g5 is played. If knight c2, the queen just creeps onto those dark squares with queen f4. And if, for example, knight takes, just calmly rook takes e1. And actually this is a super dangerous position for black. If, for example, bishop f8, bishop takes d8. But otherwise, how things are getting remarkably dangerous for black's king. So we see, in fact, black actually takes on g5, and onto queen takes, now tries to parry this invasion of the queen on the dark squares. If knight c2 instead there, as an example, then strongest is not queen f6, because then there's knight e8 just in time protecting g7, but actually strongest here is knight g4. And the idea, for example, knight takes, rook takes, this position, knight f6 check, and knight d7 is really interesting, hitting the queen and trying to accelerate queen f6 for queen g7. So yes, this goal-hanging pawn, this h6 pawn, is very, very dangerous behind the scenes here already, making its presence felt. We see knight e8, and now knight g4, knight f5, rook ac1, queen c7, and we see now knight d2. So the knights are concentrating on the f6. If they can knock out the f6 defender via knight e4, knight f6, take out this defender, then we're looking at striking on g7. We see rook d4, knight takes b3. Actually, it seems as though Fischer's interested in taking this out, which could have been a dangerous pawn, and then now taking this file. So this is also, it's delaying the mission of the knight but it is getting more control of the position here, it seems. We see rook a4, and actually that piece is encouraged to be exchanged off. We see bishop b5, rook c1, queen b6, knight d2, rook takes, knight takes. So the knights are coordinated on f6. We see bishop d3. Here it is tricky. If queen d8, then white can just take in and take on c5 with a big advantage. This is just going to be a big advantage for white, this kind of scenario. So we see actually bishop d3 after knight gf6 check. Now g4. This is really quite a crushing position now. It's emerged. Bishop takes e4 is played. If knight d4 as an example, rook takes c5, this is a really crushing blow because of knight takes e8, threatening now queen f6 and queen g7. And black is getting in severe trouble. For example, like this is one example. So yeah, g4 is very dangerous. Yeah, very, very dangerous. And we see actually bishop takes e4. Bishop takes e4, knight d4. Now knight takes e8. And yeah, black can't recapture really because of queen f6, queen g7. So black is totally toast here. Queen d8. And black is just a piece down. And okay, it looks as though knight e2 is a threat and the knight's hit. But actually, can you guess what Fischer plays in this position? Or try and work it out. If I give you 5 seconds to pause the video. Okay, Fischer plays knight d6. It threatens knight takes f7. Yeah, and if takes, then that's a winning pass pawn. There's no way. You know, this is not palatable. You know, knight e2 taking, this d7 is queening. So this is just lost. Check is played. Knight takes c1, and white is just winning basically a piece up here. And the game continues a tiny bit. And then here black resigns. So yes, Bobby Fischer making an impressive appearance in this US Chess Championship. Very young Bobby Fischer. And we see the King's Engine attack system with a very modern approved neural networks would approve this kind of form pawn strategy. It's not only a dart square strategy, it's very dangerous for black's king safety. Once this form pawn was installed here, we start to see a lot of variations implying that black could be in serious trouble. For example, here, if black went for the material because of this form pawn. So very, very interesting. It's like Fischer's well ahead of his time with the form pawn strategy and minimizing the opponent's counterplay generally. Yeah, it's just quite amazing. Yeah, knight c2, just to recap, just as a quick revisor there, this position is just very dangerous for black, even though white's the exchange down. Other possibilities, then it's just far too dangerous on the dart squares. Okay, yeah, very, very interesting game. So I'll take you to that final position. Knight c6. Okay. Hope you got something from that. The King's Engine attack system does seem to be a system we can definitely use in our games. It's not too theoretical, and therefore, in my view, it is a very instructive opening system to make use of, and the subsequent strategies, the overprotection of the e5 square, the installation of the form pawn, and the careful calculation of tactics. Once you've got that form pawn installed, careful calculations to see how black's king can be got at in exchange for material. Okay. Thanks so much. Hi guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you want more Bobby Fischer content, check out my Kingscrusher TV page. And if you go to the bottom of it, it starts at the bottom with 1970 to 1992. I also have 2 other Bobby Fischer courses. I found him absolutely fascinating to study. So there's 1956 to 62, early in his career, and there's 1963 to 68. So I hope you find those interesting. You might want to check them out, all the free samples. And I hope you really enjoyed this video. Comments, questions, likes, shares, always appreciated. Thanks very much.